Hello, hello. Nice to see you, Cindy. Actually, I should tell you about what I'm working on for the marker swatching we were talking about. Anyway, I guess I should explain my setup today. I decided to do the two camera thing because I was like really excited by Debbie J's doing that, and it looked pretty cool. But anyway, I found my Sanjokis and I've started swatching them out. But in theory, I should be done with that, and I want to try coloring things before I have opinions. But in terms of the packaging, they definitely are good, and I don't know. It's going to be interesting to compare them to a couple other sets I have, but I'm pleasantly surprised thus far. So that should be pretty interesting. I just wanted to come live and sort of clean out all my Happy Mail that's been floating around for a while because I've been doing a lot of Christmas and July stuff, and it's been fun. Anyway, let me know what you think of the face cam thing. I haven't committed to it one way or the other. I was thinking it might be a good thing to use when I'm streaming by myself, other than with other people. But let's talk about what's accruing on my desk. As you might guess, two of the things are Christmas related. So I think we can get into the smaller of the two first. This was actually scrapbook.com. I forget what they call it exactly, but when they do live streams with some of their influencers, they basically release sort of kits that go with that. So they always seem to be on relative discount. Um, and really got this one because I was excited about this paper pad. And they've done this before where you basically have these paper pads that are kind of A2 in size. Oh, yes. I don't know. I agree. I'm curious to see how they blend as well. I'm also curious to see how they play with other markers because, like, anytime you're dealing with a brand where they're not selling replacements themselves, I feel like, well, eventually you're going to burn through some color or other and need to replace it. And anyway, more to come on that. I have to stamp out some images and see how I feel about them. Um, I do think, oddly, I've sort of even though I have a lot of markers, I've been very much in sort of the crafty L camp of like, sometimes you just want to reach for a tri blend because all the things go together and it's super easy. Hey, Teresa, how are you? Hello. Oh, I can actually wave here. Wow, some days. Anyway, this was one of their $20 stream deals, except I picked up some best ever craft tape, which I haven't tried yet. Um, I've been using it's somewhere hiding on my desk, but back when I was doing a lot of painting, there's this low tack artist tape, so I've been using that. Anyway, this one I really liked because I thought the paper looked pretty cool, and this is something I've seen Scrapbook.com do with a couple releases where it's like, I don't know, they've done a lot of these A2 sort of sized card panels, which I mean is nice. I feel like it would be nice for traveling, which I hardly ever do. But I don't know. The Dove one is kind of pretty. I actually like the foliage better, but I don't know. We'll see. And they do kind of mix in some solids, which I'm not sure how I feel about. But I did like a lot of this paper. I really like this Christmas tree pattern because I don't know. I guess a little history is like Wisconsin made the aluminum trees back in like the 50s and the 60s. So there's a lot of really cool historical information around those that I like. Oh, I do like these berries are cool too. I don't know. It definitely, I saw the pad and I was like, I saw the pad and the die and I was like, those two things I definitely want. Let me see what folks are saying. Hey, Ron, how are you? Hopefully everybody is doing well. Oh, I'm glad you're good. Cindy asked me about the weather in Wisconsin. It's actually kind of typical right now, which earlier this summer it was like super dry, but we had heat waves, and then that went away, and now it's just sort of humid but a little bit hot. I think we have heat advisories yesterday and today, but I mean it's like 90. Hi Annie, how are you? Um, Anyway, and so like this whole pack was about 20 bucks and it came with these three things just for sake of clarity. And I really like this Santa, which oh good, they show you what it looks like all put together. I thought this was a really cute Santa. I also like the Spellbinder Santa. This one is a little bit bigger, obviously, but I feel like he'd be a little better on like a 5x7 card, where the other one, I don't know, the other Santa stuff um, was kind of like a 2-inch Santa, so I mean probably half that size. And I do like the joy sentiment. The only thing that's a little icky about this kind of lettering is you have to position them individually. I actually like the sentiments where they're all connected because like sometimes keeping letters aligned is not the most easy thing to do. Although you can just make it look like super wonky. And hello, everybody. And then the other thing it came with is some pretty nice. I felt like these sentiments are ones I'd use. I use Happy Holidays all the time, just because, like, when I'm making cards, I don't necessarily know who they're going to all the time. I feel like a more complicated project I'd make for a specific person, but anyway, I thought these were really good, and like they take up a lot of space, sort of like that Santa. So I mean, they work for just sort of a pretty simple card that's just sort of nice and graphic. But that's what I got from scrapbook.com, which I don't know. I don't buy from them as much because I've discovered more small brands. So I've been more, really into the small brands recently because you feel like you're supporting somebody. And speaking of, I got stuff from Honeybee because mostly one of my friends that I stream with was using the stuff from this release, and it really goes well with the challenge that I am doing over in Lynn's Facebook group in August, which I'm not talking about yet, but I will soon. Let's see what we got. We got oh, this is very nice. Cute little thank you card. I always like this is the thing I like about small brands. Like they always put in little pamphlets or thank you cards, or we'll just ignore the contents because and this was I think this is a freebie. Yeah, this is your special freebie. And it comes which is paper because clearly I don't have enough paper. So let me just open this up and see what this looks like. I think it was a I don't know, one of those you spent so much amount of money. So it's not a pad, but are just free sheets of paper. Oh, I really like things like this just because they're like a card and you're done and you don't have to do too much. These are pretty nice and universal. They are single sided. Oh, actually, I lied. This isn't single sided. It's just very light. Pretty nice. Earth tones. I mean, blue is my jam, so I'm happy about all the blues. But the earth tones are good as well. And I don't know, looks pretty neat. Something like this, I feel like you could do a little bit of coloring on to make it whatever color palette you wanted. But still pretty cool. Oh yeah, I bet you like honeybee because they have the cutest bee stuff. Um, I want to say I've got like it's not a die set, it's a stamp. It's like a layering stamp set. That's like a build a bee stamp set that allows you to basically put different faces on different bees. Um, and I just think it's cool that they like wrap up stuff. I mean, I'm not the biggest wrapping paper person, but but this is their newest collection, I think, or at least one of the things they released this summer, which is their Adventure Awaits, and all the stuff is from this release. But I just love that it had so many. These are this is something by 8.5. It's 8.5 by something. Let me see if it says. Sorry, 6 by 8.5. So you can get 5 by 7s out of this, which is nice. And the art on this is just awesome. I mean, I wasn't sure if it would be as good in person, and then you have stuff like wood grain, which I use far too much of, but um, still very nice. And it's nice that they have sort of the same that tree pattern in both horizontal and vertical. This one, obviously, you could kind of cut in half and have two pretty large panels or focal images. Oh, that is nice. This is a nice sort of very natural sort of paper pad. And I really like foliage, although I have a lot of foliage I can die cut out. Um, Someone I saw did something with this too, which is, obviously you can like put something in the middle of the wreath and then, it has a very watercolory look to it in real life. Surprisingly so, actually, because I feel like graphically, like reproducing watercolor is kind of hard. But anyway, we will be using this next month for something. And then I picked up a couple things that coordinate. They have a really impressive range of dyes that go with this collection, if that's your thing. It's kind of my thing, but you'll see in a minute. So there's these really cute cabins, and if you saw my live yesterday, I'm all about the cabins by the lake kind of look. I'm just reading comments. Oh yes, Christina Marcotte, like especially when I was new, like, I just watched so many of her videos, and I still love them because it's like whatever card style you may or may not know, I feel like she's done something on them. And, I forget, I think it was like a peekaboo card, and it's like, "Go search it," and it's like, "Yep, Chrissy did a video on how to do it." Anyway, so these are it's a little hard to tell, but, they're basically layering dies, so you sort of cut the base cabin, and then you can use pieces like this. Oh, there's a whole or I could just pull the instruction sheet. There's an idea. Anyway, love it when things come with instruction sheets. These Honeybee's really good with it. Scrappy Tales does like whole process videos. Karen Berniston does whole process videos on how to use stuff. Um, Although I like things like this because then you're not going to lose it because you can just store it with the dies. Anyway, um, and Sweet Sentiment does a good job with their dies. They'll do something similar to this where they'll just include a whole instruction sheet on how to build it. But anyway, I was chatting, but it was funny. I forget who I was chatting with, and it's like these are fairly complicated, but they're not. they at least logically kind of go together. But anyway, so I picked up those, and they come with the trees as well, which is nice. You basically have like the embossing part of the tree with the texture on it, and then you have like an outline. And here they show you how to put those together. And there's a QR code, which I suspect goes to this as well. Um, and then these are just larger trees that work in a similar way. But you have sort of like a tree trunk. You have trunks and that then the foliage. So it doesn't show you what they look like together. I saw these on live together and they were pretty cool. These also are with the other, if you pair them with the other trees, you have a whole, basically can make a whole forest of things. And then this was pretty cool, and I actually want to open these up to see how they look in real life. I haven't used honeybee stencils before, but and this is gonna probably be impossible to see. I apologize. I'll have to use them to show you, but there are one, two, three, four, five different layering pieces, and together they basically, well, one of these is upside down. That's That's better. They make like a mountainscape with trees and a lake. So even though, and it's interesting, these are a pretty nice thick material. Yes, don't go to sleep, computer. Um, so I think they'll be pretty easy to work with. So I was super stoked about that because like I am all about the camping vibes. It's funny, my mom is very much a camping inside the cabin person, so we tended to stay in cabins when I was a kid as opposed to like camp outside, which, you know, as an adult of a certain age, you kind of get it because you're sort of like, it's kind of rough. It gets a little like if you're in that situation of like about the not the first day of rain anymore, it kind of gets a little much. But this one, let me just get it out, is a very vibrant color. And Teresa already knows what this is, I bet, once I figure out how to deal with packaging issues. Um, And it's funny because one of my friends said that this particular kit would be awesome for a challenge at card swap thing coming up in her group. But I think it's fruit themed, but I was curious to try one of Pink and Main's kits. They're kind of in the same price point as the Spellbinders kits and a few others. And hello. Yes, I agree, Cindy. I think they are fantastic. I mean, I've I have like a strawberry plant one from Honeybee as well, and I really I like Honeybee makes really nice dyes, so I didn't mind spending up for a couple additional things. Um, I believe this is fruit themed this month. I'm sure I saw a video because Cards by Kendra unboxes these every month, but we'll see what I remember. And in deference to the people who got annoyed with me the time I was unboxing and just like left the box on the table and it took up three-quarters of the frame, I will undo that. And actually, I can get rid of the tissue paper because it's paper, but allegedly, every time you get one of these, they basically package it in one of these. Ooh, something happened to my camera. Let's see what is up with that. Let me just jump out and come back. What on earth is going on with my camera today? Yeah, I don't know. Let me know. Oh, thanks, Ron. Yeah, I seem to still be live. I don't know. One of my cameras seems to have freaked out. So, yeah, I don't know why we are. Oh, there we go. Now it's just me. Okay. Let me see if I can fix my phone quickly. What on earth? Oh, here we go. I think this is coming back. Whoops. Yeah, there we go. And there we are. And I am here, and then let's just swap this back. The fun of technical difficulties. Here we go. Alrighty. Anyway, what was that? Where was I in the middle of? Oh, I was going to say, allegedly they always come in these project bags, which are kind of nice. And it keeps everything together, which I always find is like difficult. And we'll ignore the, well, we can look at the inspiration sheet, I guess. I tend to ignore these. Um, as you might notice, I can never really stay on project that much. Well, I can never really stay that close to what's going on. But anyway, I like this color range. It feels very summer to me. It seems to be reading on camera a little darker than in real life, but you get the basic idea. A lot of like, to me, this is like a very watermelon kind of skin green, and you get a lot of those sort of summer things. And it's a pretty decent amount of cardstock. Yeah, two white, and then one, two, three, four, think six other colors. Anyway, that is pretty neat. And like so many of these are using pattern paper, you don't really even think of the cardstock, but I'm very curious. Oh, this is a really nice zipper on this thing too. Not that I'm always like super about the packaging, but this is particularly nice to just sort of hang around. And I haven't used these before. These are toner transfer sheets basically where you use foil on top of them and run it through a laminator. And then like this flower design in this case would adhere. I actually have a laminator I haven't used in forever, so that's pretty cool. I do like the bling, obviously kind of in the same colorway, but like I am all about the bling. And I do like these are the sequins without holes in them, essentially. So I feel like those look nicer. Um, but that's not really. You'd think with all the bling I have, I'd have like every color of bling there is, but not so much. And then Summertime Fruits is the name of the paper pad. And let's see what we. Oh, I don't know. Like I have a. I think Teresa did a really I should dig it out, but I have a watermelon pad from Not Too Shabby that also has sort of a very similar vibe. I think it's a little more saturated. These are more like pictures of fruit rather than actual fruit, if that makes sense to you. Anyway, this one I really liked. I thought this was a really nice sort of color to work with. Oh, are they alcohol friendly? That's good to know. Because I don't know, I still tend to like use coloring paper a lot, but sometimes it's I don't know. I feel like both the Nina and 80 pound and the 100 are a good option too, and just like a standard cardstock. And whatever that paper Lynn loves is, the Hammermill 100 pound color copy cover whatnot. Um, but I'm going to be interested to try this. This I really like. I had this in something similar in another pad, but I really like these sort of. I like those patterns quite a bit. And yeah, there's a lot in, and then it starts repeating. But I don't know. I'm interested. There is a fruit themed card swap, so that's going to be pretty neat. Enamel dots, which I have a bajillion of, just like Teresa. I always feel like I'm running out of them and then buy them and then I like go through my stash eventually and then it's like, wow, I have lots of these. Anywho, these are coordinating with the pad basically. They look they look they look fairly translucent, so more like a dewdrop kind of look. And then we get into wow, there is a lot of stuff in here. I always forget uh the Pink and Main always seems to give you a ton of stuff even in their normal sets. Anyway, a lot of cute fruits, sentiments, and then you have sort of layers of fruit that you can probably stamp on top of other things because these are sort of like you probably would use this as the outline and then you could use these to fill in, I'm guessing. I could be wrong about that. I think I'm wrong about that. They don't seem to line up, but um, these are more full coverage kind of stamps. Whoops, sorry about that. Some days I am not on camera, and that is too bad. And what do we have? I love you very much. Happy birthday. Always a good one. I have a birthday card I need to make, that's for sure. And you make a great pair, very cute. You're the apple of my eye. It comes with coordinating dies, which I don't always use, but I think they're really nice for the sentiments because that is very annoying to try and scan and cut out. And you have them pretty much for everything. So that's pretty cool. And then it comes with this basket weave stencil, which is something I'm going to use a ton of because, like, it's basically I could use it for every season. And this is huge. Um, like, this is an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. So, like, this stencil is really big. So I could pretty much do anything I needed with that. So that makes me very happy. Actually, I want to say it was Meg might have told me about this sort of grid cover plate die from Altnu that like basically just sort of it just basically cuts a fairly standard pattern, but like you can reuse it all over the place. And then this is a really nice embossing folder. This would actually be good to try a technique I wanted to do where you can basically take watercolor paper and then emboss it. And then basically because you have like the embossing, you don't really have to worry about the lines too much because the water will just sort of stay where it's supposed to. So that is very cool. I think that's definitely very good value for the monthly price that they charge. Um, it seems like you definitely it definitely feels like a good mix too of stuff that you're gonna like stuff you're gonna use up, but also stuff that's going to be around for a long time and be reusable. And speaking of reusable, on to our last thing, which was the recently released card kit from Scrappy Tales, which I really like Sabrina's dies, even though I don't use them all the time. But I guess this is just a cool brand because um, the owner basically put herself through college making pop-up cards and selling them on Etsy. And then afterwards, she started a dye brand to basically make it easier for other people to do stuff in a similar vein. But she basically has sort of two lines of card kits. This is one of the more deluxe ones, but they often like for specific releases, you'll get simpler ones as well. So these come with bling as well, and a lot of the bling that card makers are using. Um, is very similar to like nail art bling. So like if you ever see like nail art stuff that looks cool, you can always buy that and decide that it's a card making supply. Let's and the reason I bought this because obviously I have a ton of Christmas stuff is this is like retro Christmas tree themed and I guess I could pull the paper out first so that you get an idea because like I feel like the dies are hard to look at and figure out what they would do, but um, again, like a 6x8 paper pad, so you can get card fronts out of it. It has a lot of. It's very vintage, sort of 50s, 60s. You know, we have a very vintagey sort of Santa. The postcards are also a theme, as you'll see in a minute. Um, so there's a lot of sort of stamp-like things, but the main focus of this whole card kit is this vintage tree, which let me see if I can't get this closer. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Anyway, so it's this sort of trimmed tree, but they're sort of with the I don't know. Someone who's smarter than me probably knows what those bulbs are called. But the huge bulbs they used in the 50s, now they have like LED replicas of them, which is nice because they won't burn down your house. But like, yeah, they're like the D20s or something. I want to say. I don't know. My grandparents had them, and like, I swear every grandkid, including me, like decided to touch them at some point and like burned their hand off. And it was we were kids and it was great. Oh, these are cute. I didn't even notice there were penguins here, but and then this to me is sort of a very retro 50s or 60s kind of pattern. And these are sort of the postcards. I believe there's a stencil where you can make your own. I actually have a die from Cat Scrappiness's Valentine's Day release that'll actually like cut you a whole postcard with sort of the usual, where you have sort of a place to write an address and a place to write a message and all that. So if you want to do, so I may pull that out too because like I do like the idea of faux postcards. Oh, I like these are cute. Oh, so much teal. I am a f I don't know, it's funny, like, I always was, like, a very classic Christmas card person until last year, and then I made one Christmas card with, like, a blue-green as opposed to, like, a true green, and I'm sort of like ever since, it's sort of like, well, pink and teal Christmas cards are a thing too. Um, let me pull this one because this is sort of the core tree. Um, you have a die that'll cut lights and garlands and more garlands and stars. It basically comes in two sizes. It comes in like a smaller one that would be good as like on a card, and then this one where you can basically make a whole paper craft ornament out of it. And then I think this is the one kit exclusive thing, which it says something in reverse. We wish you a Merry Christmas. I don't know, like I still can't read stuff in reverse. I don't know if other people know can, but basically you can use this will fit inside the tree essentially. And then along with that, this is I think I forget if this was in the kit or was an add-on, but essentially this will cut out a stand that you could then put one of those trees in and make it more of like a display piece and less of a ornament or more of a something you'd put on a mantle. I mean, I'll say Scrabby Tails generally has like, oh hi Annie, feel free to lurk as much as you want. Um, no, I mean I think Scrabby Tails sort of straddles that line between like, is it a decor piece or is it a card? Because so many of the things are like pop-ups and fairly elaborate. Anyway, so this gives us sort of a not the same tree, obviously, but gives us more of a traditional pine tree that you could use. These pieces basically will make you can use for snow. So you can cut this out and then either use those for snow or for other things to make the tree look more lifelike. These two pieces are more foundational, and so they do scoring and cutting. So basically, you can use them along with the trees to create papercraft ornaments. I'm really curious to try these out and see how they work, but I'm kind of waiting for a tutorial video because I was sort of confused as to how they all go together. So we shall see. And then it also comes with they have really nice stencils. So we have these stencils that match that snowflake pattern. I'm sure these are not reading it all on camera. Um, and then there are stencils that will allow you to create the postcard. So you have sort of the stamp. I don't know how. eh, the and then you have some other pieces, and then you have one that's basically just all snow. Those are really hard to see. I apologize, but then the last thing you get is well, you get the dies to cut these out, but last thing you get is basically the stamp set, and this is very postcardy themed. You have stamps, you have a really cool tree. I mean, I think these will be really neat to stamp and then color because a lot of her images, especially these, are very straightforward. I really like the truck a ton, which is this one. Um, so I'm really excited about that. And I mean, there's a car that looks the same if you don't like the circle, but I think the circle makes it look pretty like snow globy. And like if you did sort of a like a light blue wash or something on it. Oh, hello. Hi, Cordelia. How are you? Oh, don't worry. I'm just showing all of my various things that piled up in a week or in a month of Christmas in July. Um, and I guess also there's sort of a focus on tags. The idea being like you could use the tag with some of the ornaments. Since you just popped in, Cordelia, I'll let me back up and say basically the focal point of this whole collection is this sort of retro tree idea. Anyway, but that is pretty much it. I am pretty stoked to try all this stuff out, actually. I'm not sure where I'm going to start, and I'm not also not sure, um, like when I'm going to wind up taking a break to do other projects. Um, I don't know. This time of the year is kind of weird because it's like we have this Christmas season, and then we have, then at some point fall happens, and then there's Halloween, which I have a lot of Halloween stuff to play with too, but I'm looking forward to Halloween. But, yeah, and then we're back to Christmas in sort of September or November, but, I mean, I'm glad that I'm building up my Christmas card stash just because I don't know, this year I might get my act together and sell them on Etsy, or at least list them on Etsy. Usually it's like, by the time I have my Christmas cards together, I'm like, "Oh, I have to send those all out," but anyway, thanks everyone for stopping by, and I hope you guys have a good rest of your afternoon. I will be streaming not here, but on Stamper Girls channel in the usual 4 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. Pacific Saturday streams through Crafty Fun with Friends and all of that. Oh, yeah, I don't know. I agree. I'm not really an orange person, but I kind of get like I get into orange around the fall, and uh, there's a couple like really fun things. But anyway, I will talk to you guys later. I don't know that I may be doing. I think I'm going to continue my intro card series on Sunday at some point. I bumped that to 5 p.m. just because there were a lot of other people streaming in the afternoon, and I have stuff going on earlier in the day. But anyway, thanks for everyone for checking it out, and I will talk to you guys later. And I think I actually have an outro now. So let's try that out and have a great rest of your day.